Hello and welcome to the lecture series on railways, harbour, tunneling and airport for the subject code 18 CV 645, Module 1, Session 11, Geometric Design of Railways. So, in this session, we are going to discuss about the geometrical aspect or the design of railways, necessity of geometric design, gradients, grade compensation and some numerical problems, and lastly the references. Moving on to the geometric design of a railway. So, geometric design of a railway track will going to include the parameter which are going to be determined and which affect the geometry of the track. So, the parameters which are going to be having its importance with respect to geometric design of railways are gradient, curvature and alignment. So, first parameter is gradient in the track. So, it includes the grade compensation, rising or falling gradient. So, first parameter with respect to geometric design of railway is going to be based on the gradient. So, it deals with grade compensation or rising or falling gradient of the track system. Moving on to the second parameter, it is called the curvature of the track. It includes both horizontal and vertical curves, transition curves or sharpness of the curve, or we can say a degree of a curve, cant, super elevation on the curve. So, all these geometrical features are going to be covered or the parameters with respect to curvature of the track. So, this is the second parameter. Third one is the alignment of the track. So, it includes straight as well as the curved alignment. So, all the three parameters are going to be important with respect to geometrical design. So, in other words, geometrical design is going to be a designing of all the element with respect to the site or with respect to the gradient, curves or otherwise any other parameter we are going to be designed according to the speed, according to the terrain condition. So, those are going to be called as geometrical design. So, if you are going to be concerned with the railway, so that is going to be called as geometrical design of railways. So, moving on to the importance. So, it is a very important for the track to have a proper geometrical design, or otherwise we can't ensure the safety and smooth running when it is going to be operating at its maximum speed and when it carries the heaviest axial load when on the track. So, it means the geometrical design is playing its importance role with respect to the safety and also the operation of a train when compared or when it is going to be operated to its maximum permissible speed on the track. So, this maximum permissible speed is always going to be adopted based on the type of a gauge system and type of a loading or load carrying capacity of the rail sections it is going to be used and terrain conditions. So, all these are going to be having its importance with respect to geometrical design of railway sections. So, the speed and axial load of the train are going to be important and sometimes they are going to be included as a parameter to arrive for the geometrical design of the track section. So, as I explained, so say for example, the curve transition curve, so or otherwise the gradient. So, all these are going to be depend upon the speed, that is going to be a permissible speed or a design speed. So, similarly to select the cross sectional or component of a track system, so it is going to be with respect to the axial load. Hence, these two parameters are going to be included in geometrical design of railways. So, what is the necessity of a geometrical design? So, is it having any importance? Yes, we can say the geometrical design is going to be important as compared to the railway track, because to ensure the smooth and safe running of a train. So, as I explained in the previous slide, so whenever we are going to be talk about the safety, so curves or otherwise the super elevation, so those are going to be kept according to the design, especially in points and crossing, level crossings, etc. So, to arrive that one, we are going to be say a safe running and smooth means if you are going to be having a perfect geometry with respect to the alignment, no undulations, and also with respect to the gradient if you are going to provide it. So, obviously the trains will run smooth and safe over the track system. So, that is the first necessity of the geometrical design. Moving on to the second point, to achieve the maximum speed. It means for a given track system, what going to be the maximum speed we can operate on the particular track system in terms of kilometer per hour. So, with respect to both the passenger and cargo or the goods trains. Similarly, so how much load it is going to be carried with respect to heavy axle load when we are going to be operating on the track. So, this is with respect to the cross sectional of the permanent way to be concerned, and also the curves how we are going to be designed with respect to the centrifugal forces which is act by due to the heavy load which are moving on the track system. Next point, the geometry is also going to be important to avoid the accident. So, that is with respect to sight and also the safety of the operation, and also the derailment due to the defective permanent way. So, to have the safe with respect to the accident and also the derailment, the geometrical design is going to be important. So, apart from that one, so a well designed geometrics is always going to give you a least maintenance over the period of a timing. Apart from that one, it is also going to give you a good aesthetic. So, these are a few points. So, we have to give a good geometrics with respect to the alignment has been concerned. So, these are all the necessity or the points to be concerned with respect to proper geometric design of a track system. So, moving on to the next parameter, that is called as a gradient. So, any departure of the track when it is measured with a level is going to be a grade or a gradient. So, we have talked about a departure. So, departure might be of a up or a down. So, any departure with respect to when it is measured with a level, so that is going to be called as a grade or a gradient. So, gradients are provided in order to negotiate a rise or a fall in the level of the railway track. So, that is the same thing. The rising gradient is a one in which the track rises in the direction of the movement of the traffic, whereas the down or the falling gradient is a one which loses its elevation in the direction of the traffic. So, in this image it is a very clear that when we are going to be start it's in the moving direction. So, the gradients are going to be in a rising, so that is in the positive trend. Suppose if it is going to be a falling one, so gradually the gradients are going to be down with respect to measured with leveling. So, that is the level. So, usually we are been measuring the gradient are going to be represented in terms of 100 unit or a percentages. Okay. So, when it is measured with respect to a particular unit or 100 units in horizontal distances. Sometimes the gradients are also going to be in terms of a percent or a rise or a fall with respect to a unit, for an example. So, in this case, so if the rise is going to be 1 in 400, so that if you are going to be expressed in terms of percentage, it is going to be 0.25. So, that is going to be measured. So, 1 in 400 means every 1 meter rise with respect to 400 meter of horizontal distance. So, that is going to be called as a gradient. Suppose if it is going to be in the upward or in a positive direction, so that is going to be called as a rising gradient or positive gradient usually. Suppose if it is going to be the same thing 1 in 400, that is a for every 400 meter there is a fall of 1 meter. So, that is going to be represented as 1 in 400. So, that is going to be a negative gradient of 0.25% over 400 meters or horizontal distance. So, that is a meter difference we are going to be measured with respect to horizontal. Say for example, usually sometimes sorry, just a moment. So, usually if you are concerned about the tracks, or generally we are going to be measuring the gradients with respect to the horizontal distance. Say for example, this is going to be the h and this is going to be the x. Sometimes it is going to be represented by theta. So gradient is nothing but we are going to be measured x by h. So that is a gradient we are going to be measuring. So gradients are provided in order to meet the objective. So first one, to reach the various station at a different elevation. So it is going to be said that whenever we are going to be having a different types of gradient, so in next sessions we are going to discuss the different types. So whenever we are going to be provide the gradient, so at various stations and different elevation. Similarly, to follow the natural contours of the ground to extent is possible. So whenever we are going to be having a natural contours, so how much gradient we are going to be providing. Say for example, these are a different contours if you are going to be for analysis. So what is going to be the gradient if you are going to be measuring from point A to point B. So that needs to be taken care with respect to the gradient. So next is to reduce the cost of earthwork. Obviously, say for example, if it is going to be chain edges, say for just I am writing, and these are going to be the reduced levels. Okay, so and this is going to be the formation level. So in order to have a earthwork in cutting and filling, so when it is going to be measured with respect to a gradient line, so for every 100 meter is it going to be positive or a negative. So that is going to give you a optimum volume of a cutting and filling. So that reduces cost of earthwork. To provide uniform rate of rise or fall, so as far as possible, so we have to have what we say uniformity of a rise and fall. It should not be abrupt. So that is the thing when we are going to meet the objectives of the gradient. So moving on to the different types of gradient, usually we are going to be used in railways track or track system. First one is called as a ruling gradient. Okay, the first one is going to be the ruling gradient. So next is going to be the pusher or a helper gradient, momentum, and whatever the gradient if you are going to be providing at the railway stations or the ad, so that is going to be called as gradient in station ads. Moving to the first one, that is a ruling gradient. So what exactly meant by the ruling gradient? Ruling gradient is the maximum gradient which is provided on a section of a railway track. So it imposes a limitation on hauling capacity of an engine. So what exactly the ruling gradient means? So ruling gradient is going to ease the engine capacity to haul over a gradient which is provided. So that particular, that is a ruling, it is been provided over a section. So that is called as a ruling gradient. So in Indian railways, the ruling gradients are going to be adopted depend upon the terrain condition. Say for example, in plain terrain, so it should be a less than 30%. So or otherwise the ruling gradient is going to be in the range of 1 in 150 or 1 in 200. So in between the values are going to be using. Suppose in case of a hilly terrain or hilly region, so it is going to be greater than or equal to 3%, or otherwise the limit is going to be 1 in 100 to 1 in 150. So these are the numerical values which are going to be used in Indian Railway with respect to ruling gradient has been concerned. So next is the gradient in any section of a railway track should not be steeper than the ruling gradient. So that is the condition. So how do you going to obtain it? The extra force as it is going to be created due to the pull of a train with respect to a weight of a W on any gradient as measured with respect to inclination of a theta is going to be represented by the fundamental equation. So additional force is nothing but P into sine of theta. So that is the same thing as I drawn in the previous case to explain the gradient. So that is the theta and this is h and this is x. So, what could be the extra force it is going to be required to move along this weight on the section. So, that is going to be W into sin theta, or approximately when theta is going to be a smaller value, it approximate we can measure is going to be sin theta is going to be converted to tan theta. So, tan theta is nothing but it is going to be the gradient. So, in other words, the extra force is going to be equal to the cross product of the weight it is moving or the weight of a locomotive multiplied by the gradient. So, whatever the gradient we are going to be providing, so that is going to be the P, that is the force it is going to be exerted over the network. So, next is the pusher or the helper gradient. So, this is the second type of a gradient which are provided in the railway track. The important effect of a ruling gradient is it is going to be limit on the locomotive capacity. If the ruling grade is severe, it means a larger portion of the journey the locomotive is going to have unused capacity to carry the heavier loading or higher loading. So, the gradient is so provided that the operation is going to be made easier and economical, especially in case of a mountainous region. So, that gradients are going to be called as pusher or helper gradient. Say for example, on the Western Ghats, if it is going to be a BG track, that is a broad gauge track, a pusher gradient is going to be in the range of 1 in 37. So, that is the gradient we are been providing. Say for example, in narrow gauge, in case of Darjeeling, so that pushing gradient is going to be 1 in 25. So, this numerical value is been provided. So, or otherwise, so helper gradient in the range of 1 in 75 to a range of 1 in 100 is going to be provided with an additional engine are going to be used for the safe pushing or pulling of the rail with concern to the terrain condition. So, usually Indian Railway is going to be adopting a pusher gradient with a range of 1 in 40 to 1 in 20. So, that is going to be the pusher gradient we are been providing. Say just see the example over here. So, this is going to be the gradient, the steeper gradient are going to be concentrated with a very small section. So, this is a very small section where we are been encountering a steeper gradient because of a mountain. So, rest of the thing is going to be a gradual, we can provide the ruling gradient. Moving on to the next type of a gradient, that is called a momentum gradient. So, in order to achieve the momentum over a rise or a fall, so that particular type of a ruling gradient is going to be called as momentum gradient. Say for the gradient, so according to definition, the gradient which is greater than the ruling gradient, but the momentum gradient do not impose any limitation on hauling capacity. So, there is no restriction over the hauling capacity of an engine, but an engine is going to haul for a greater load on a momentum gradient than it can over a ruling gradient as a virtue of favorable topography. So, every rising gradient should be preceded by the falling gradient, or otherwise, so every falling gradient should have a rising gradient in order to achieve the momentum. So, in order to achieve the momentum, so this is if it is going to be a falling gradient, so then it has to be followed by rising gradient or vice versa. So, that is called momentum gradient. So, last type of a gradient we are been providing in the track system is going to be gradient at station or railway station or station yard. So, as the name it indicates, so whatever the gradient it is usually provided near to the station approach of a station or the yard. So, it should not be as in case of momentum gradient or a pusher gradient, usually a flat gradient we are going to be provided for the following reasons. First one, to prevent the standing vehicle from rolling or moving away from the station. So, this is due to the combination of a strong wind or with respect to effect of a gravity. So, if you are going to be having a if you are not provided a gradient, so which is going to be say straight. If you are going to be in a downward direction, obviously the engines or locomotive is going to be move in the direction of weight or due to the wind. So in order to reduce the additional resistive forces, so which are going to be required for the locomotive to start the locomotive to a possible extent. So however, we are going to be providing a minimum gradient over station, so for the purpose of drainage. So in order to have achieve the starting of locomotive and to achieve the what we say drainage, so we are going to be providing a minimum gradient in the station yard. So whereas in Indian Railways, normally we are going to be adopting 1 in 1000. So that is going to be 1 in 1000. So that is every meter rise for every kilometer is going to be maintained. So at the station point or the station yard, for the efficient or quick runoff of the rainwater or drainage purpose, the maximum limit that we can provide on the station yard is going to be 1 in 400. So that is the minimum gradient we should provide in the station yard. So as we know that in some part of the stretch, all the types of gradients are not going to be met. So we are going to be providing a compensation over a gradient. So that is called a grade compensation. So usually if the ruling gradient is a maximum gradient as compared to the railway track in designing, so in case of a ruling gradient, especially on a curved alignment, so is a combination of resistance due to ruling gradient, so and also due to the curvature, as it is going to be exceeding the hauling capacity or the hauling power of an engine. So therefore, in order to keep these two resistances due to the effect of ruling gradient and the curvature, so it has to be kept in a minimum permissible limit, so that the ruling gradient or curved alignment are going to be get reduced. So this reduction in ruling gradients are going to be in order to keep a combined resistance. So that resistance value we are going to be called as an grade compensation. So usually the grade compensations are expressed as a percentage per unit degree of the curve. So as per as the Indian standards or Indian railway standards, we are going to be adopting the following grade compensation. For a broad gauge, so for broad gauge track, it is going to be 0.04% or 70 by r, where r is going to be the radius of a curve, 70 divided by radius of a curve in meter. So in between, say if it is a percentage or by the value of a curve, so whichever one is going to be a minimum, so that has to be concerned. Similarly, in case of a meter gauge, it is going to be 0.03 or otherwise 52.5 divided by the radius of a curve. So in case of narrow gauge, it is 0.02% or 35 by radius of the curve, whichever is going to be minimum, that has to be concerned with respect to grade compensation. So to know the better understanding of the grade compensation, so just have a numerical problem. So the problem statement is going to be like this: a broad gauge track is designed for a ruling gradient of 1 in 180 on a curve which is having a 3 degree. So what should be the compensated grade in the alignment? So to solve this problem, they are already given what is the ruling gradient. It is provided in the network. The actual ruling gradient it is provided is 1 in 180. The degree of a curve, so degree of the curve is going to be 3 degrees. Type of network to analyze it is going to be BG track, that is a broad gauge track. So as we know that from the previous slide, so what I had explained, so these are the formula, that is a numerical value, we should remember it in case of grade compensation. So here in this problem we are being concerned with the broad gauge track, that is 0.04%. So hence for grade compensation for a BG track, that is a broad gauge track, is going to be 0.04% of a degree of a curve. So as it is a 3 degree of a curve, it is going to be 0.12%. So, here what it says, it is going to be 70 by r. So, whichever going to be a minimum. So, concerned it is going to be 0.12%. So, actual gradient we are going to be provided is going to be, the actual gradient is how much, 1 in 180 for 100 meter. So, it is going to be 0.12% grade compensation. So, its work was to be 0.435%. Suppose if you are going to be convert the numerical value, so it is going to be 1 in 230. So, the grade compensation or compensated gradient to be provided for the given degree of a curve and ruling gradient is going to be 1 in 230. So, that is an idea about compensated gradient or grade compensation in the alignment system. So, with this note, we are going to be ending this session with the following standard references and web references. Thank you.